Do you have a small space? Well, let me show you a few things that you can do to create more depth and dimension in that space. One of the simplest ways to add depth is to create layers within your shots. Think foreground, midground, and background. You can add something in the foreground, like a plant or a camera, to add some separation from the midground where your subject is. And then the background you can leave just for context or add something interesting back there, as we might get into later. So one of the biggest things to me is foreground. You're going to want to definitely establish foreground when you're trying to create depth in small spaces. Just think everyday objects, honestly, like a plant or a book or a camera. It will add a lot. It goes a long way. So you can also add depth with your light placement. Lighting can completely change how we see a space, how we see the three-dimensionality of it, and where you place those lights can accentuate certain things within that space. Adding a backlight or a rim light to your subject can really help make them pop from their background. In this case, I'm adding a rim light, so you might not be able to notice it much, but you can kind of see it here on the side of my face. It just adds a little bit of separation, kind of accentuates my jaw a little bit. You can, place it further and further behind your subject to, decrease its efficacy within the scene. But yeah, a simple rim light can really help your subject separate from the background. Shadows add some pretty instant dimension. And when talking about faces, you always want to be shooting into the shadow side of the face. So you want to place your subject in between the camera and the light. Make sure that you're always getting that shadow side closer to camera. And you can also play around with shadows behind you in the background. Let me go ahead and do that now. So, like I said, shadows in the background really bring out the dimension of the full space. And you can kind of argue that I'm not really in a small space anymore. But, I'm just using what I have here. Angles can make all of the difference, especially when you're in a small space. A small change of perspective can make a small room look gigantic. I think the most effective way to draw out the depth of the room is to shoot into the angles of the room, shoot into the corner. So for instance, right now I'm shooting diagonally towards myself, and I'm making sure that we're getting part of most of this side of my face, but part of the other side of my face, and as well as drawing some, leading lines from here to here, and having some other leading lines coming down, pointing down towards my head. There's a lot of things you can do with camera angles, as well as shooting up at a subject or down at a subject. So low or high angle, just play around with it. You definitely don't want to be shooting flat at the wall unless you're going for like a full symmetric look, which is kind of hard to do in a small space. So yeah, just play around with the camera angles. Color contrast is simple, but very powerful. Small spaces can look flat, so we can use color to make certain elements of that room pop. So you can do cool versus warm tones. For instance, I've kind of set up the background as mostly cool tones, and then I've got this lamp right here that's a very warm tone lighting my face. Then I have the computer screen, which is actually really just a light tube that's sitting down here. And I definitely wanted that to be blue to kind of separate my hands from the rest of my body. And yeah, you can definitely do a lot of cool things when it comes to the warm versus cool tones in a room. Also, just you don't need like an RGB setup to do that. You can usually do it just by like splitting color temperature by setting one to daylight balance and then the other one to tungsten balance. A really good way to establish depth is to just use really shallow depth of field. Shoot at a low aperture, which is not always the answer, but it can really accentuate the layers that you've formed within this scene. So it helps really separate the foreground from the midground and the background from the midground. It just, not always the answer, but when you're in these small spaces, you probably want to be shooting as low as possible, just so you can get the maximum amount of separation as possible. Another really good way to create that shallow depth of field is to just get close to your subject. The closer you get, the more separation you're going to have from the background. It's just kind of a general thing with lenses, is the closer the focus, the harder the separation is going to be between, point of focus and everything else. Yeah. The last thing is just going to be focusing on textures. It's really simple. Just make sure when you're going through any of these scenes, you go through and you pick up you get pickup shots of the textures and get close, pen on the paper, fingers typing on the keyboard, the texture of the desk mat, the light turning on. It's really gonna just help tie together this small space and make it seem a little bit bigger than it is. You're focusing on really small things, but they seem really grand within the actual shots. With these tricks, you can hopefully create a little bit more depth in the rooms that you're shooting in, the spaces that you're shooting in. I've really wanted to set up a permanent little studio space for myself to shoot these talking head videos for a while now, and it's been difficult because I didn't really have the knowledge or the know-how to do it until now, and make it look interesting. So yeah, maybe we'll have a little bit more permanent setup here going forward. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, if you have any tips and tricks yourself, leave them below. Go ahead and subscribe, and then leave a like if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything. And yeah, we'll see you next time.